Know that like heaven is listening to you. Our communion of saints in heaven are looking down upon us and wanting to be our friends. Welcome back to God Nod. My name is Casey, and today I want to share how Saint Therese gave me a flower. I don't know if you know much about Saint Therese, but she was a Carmelite nun who entered at the age of 15 at the convent, and then she died at age 24, but she was known for her little way of love. She's a doctor of the church, but basically contributing to the church her little way of love of in every single moment, whether it be a big or small deed, I'm gonna do it with love. And that's her way of how she became a saint, was she just did every single thing she did with so much love. And so she has this, her biography where she writes about how she wants to spend her heaven doing good on earth. And she has this exact quote. She says, "Upon my death, I will let fall a shower of roses. I wish to spend my heaven in doing good upon the earth." And so sometimes it's tradition or of that sort to receive a flower from Saint Therese on her feast day after praying the novena. It's been something that's just kind of been around in the church, that people have been receiving flowers on her feast day as a sign from heaven that she's listening to your prayers and she's praying for you. And so this happened in this last couple months, or in this last couple weeks. And so I want to share that as a sign that heaven is listening. And you know, I've prayed this novena for years now, and sometimes I receive flowers on her feast day and sometimes I don't. But this time I did, and I think something just to point out is that the sign is never the end. It's never the goal. It's never the point. You don't pray a novena for a flower, right? You pray a novena so that heaven is interceding for you and to hear your prayers, to answer your prayers. But the signs, the flowers, they're all just to give you inspiration and to increase your faith that they're listening and that they're praying for you. So I just want to make that known, that just because if you pray this novena and you don't receive a flower, that doesn't mean she's not hearing your prayers. But it's just fun and like a good sign that when you do receive a flower, it's just that little inspiration that to increase our faith. And so a couple weeks ago when I prayed this novena, I wasn't really expecting to receive a flower, but so her feast day was on October 1st, and it was a Saturday this time, and I was actually traveling that weekend, so I was definitely not expecting to receive a flower from someone on her feast day. And it was actually after her feast day that I actually realized that I had received a flower from her. But on her feast day, my grandma gave me a card, and in the moment I was like busy and I was with people, so I didn't really like open the card much. I just kind of like opened it and then like closed it really quick and then put it back in my purse to like look at later. And then on that following Monday, I remembered that my grandma had given me this card, and I was actually in holy hour and adoration before the Blessed Sacrament, and for some reason it just like dawned on me that I forgot to like look at that card. And so I felt inspired to look at that card and open it. And this is the card. And it's funny that first off, on the cover, it's a bouquet of flowers, which just goes to add to the whole drama of it. But inside the card is a like pressed flower from the Holy Land, from Bethlehem. Let's see if you can see it. So here I am in holy hour, realizing that, oh my gosh, I received a flower. And then I was like, what day was that? And I realized it was on Saturday, which was her feast day. And so I received this flower from Saint Therese through my grandma. And my grandma had no idea that it was her feast day. I don't think I had any idea that I was praying this novena. And yet here my grandma felt so inclined to give me this pressed flower from the Holy Land, and in a card with a bouquet on it, which is really funny. And like everything inside the card just is about how she found this card, because I prayed this novena and it would be fitting that she would give me a flower on St. Therese's feast day, without knowing. And so that was how St. Therese gave me a flower, through my grandma on her feast day. But the point of the story is not to be like, oh cool, like St. Therese gave you a flower. The point is to like inspire you to know that like heaven is listening to you. Our communion of saints in heaven are looking down upon us and wanting to be our friends, wanting to grow and pray for us. And we would be at loss if we didn't rely on the intercession of the saints. And so I just want to encourage you, let this encourage you that heaven is listening to you, that the saints are listening to you. Pray and grow in relationship with the saints. Sometimes I just like pray, any saints want to be my friend? And then sometimes a saint will just start popping up, whether someone speaks about it or you read about it or you see it somewhere. And then you're like, wait a second, I keep seeing this saint pop up. Maybe I should grow in friendship with the saint. And it's just really cool because our faith is not an individual faith. It is a community. It is a communion of saints. We have people in our church who are living here on earth. We have people in heaven, saints who are interceding for us and rooting for us. And then we have people in purgatory in our church who are just relying on our prayers to release them into heaven. And so it's so cool to think about the communion of saints and how God works in his church. So I just want that and to encourage you that heaven is listening. Go pray some novenas. Grow in relationship with St. Therese because she wants to pray for you. I hope this video has blessed you and inspires you to grow in relationship with your patron saint and with all the other saints. And please know of my prayers, and I pray that God blesses you in abundance.